cool about our bodies too is a pause. We come with it. It is built in. Think about your heart. Does your heart just go, no, or you're going to be in big trouble? It goes, thump, thump, thump. There's a pause. Even your breath has a pause. You breathe in, pause. You breathe out, pause. Now, since all of you were nice enough to come here this evening so I wouldn't have to talk to myself, I'm going to tell you about a tremendously great discovery. And I discovered this, I don't know if it's patentable, just a few days ago. Someone was talking to me about something I really was not in the mood to hear. But they were just starting, so I decided I had to pause, and I discovered this. We have a pause button built in. It is right under your nose. Take your finger, there is a slot here. Because I don't know why else that slot is there, and science doesn't either. And I discovered this, and I want credit. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but your finger, well, mine is deeper than most because I have to do it a lot. But it will stop you from saying something offensive or whatever it is. And if you think about it, some people do this naturally. They go, but it's there. And it's just waiting. It's a pause button. So remember, these are just some techniques that you can start to use. Life becomes a lot more fun. Instead of being contentious all the time and fighting each other, we can stop and say, wait a minute, my goal is to connect. Can you tell me more about that view? Because that one's really foreign to me. Or, that's an interesting point. And inside I'm thinking, like hell, because I don't agree with it. We can think a lot of things, but we want to practice, so we have lots of tools. The world and people are not going to stop bringing on challenging things to you. It's going to happen all the time. But when you go to that place of compassion and start using these tools, you can walk in with more compassion and more confidence to almost any situation. We are here to connect with each other. We are on the same team. So why are we arguing over this, that, or the other thing? Because we don't even have to decide at this moment, and you're arguing at the dinner party across the table. Like, well, wait a minute, the vote isn't even now. We don't need to argue about this. So the aim is to understand and connect. It's going back to why we are all here. How come we weren't all born looking and acting the same? Because it wouldn't be interesting. We need every voice in this choir to come together. We got big things to do. So please, if you're going to remember something this evening, make it. My job is to be part of this team and to connect. Because I have this essence, this place of love in me that I'm supposed to keep going to. So we are all going to go forward, and may we be respectful. May we be in charge of ourselves instead of blaming others for bringing it on. It's a practice. So I'm going to open up the floor now to scenarios. If we don't have any, I've got plenty to share of things that have come up that happen in friendships, in homes, in businesses, and just all different places. So who's got a question right now?
Okay, I was at a party, a football final party, at someone else's house. Now, these people that I came by myself, and someone during the game threw out a racial slur. Okay, I feel guilty for not saying anything, but it's not my house, it's not my guest. How should I have handled that? It was very uncomfortable. Nobody said anything, but what would be the right thing to do?
Okay.
Like I said, you feel guilty for not saying anything.
Yes. All right, did everybody hear the question? She was at a party, a football party, and somebody made a racial remark against some race for whatever reason. And now she said she's feeling guilty because she didn't say anything. Silence can be very powerful. It can be powerful in deciding, you know what, it's not worth dealing with that. That is one it's worth dealing with, because that does not fit that loving place. That's not who we are. When we're silent, you did the best you could at the time. And you said, what should I have done? So we don't want to feel guilty because at the time you thought that that was the best thing to do. That's the decision you made. It doesn't matter whose house it is. Doesn't matter at all if it's right here in front of all these people. This is my house, but if you make a remark against a religion, a race, or a country, I'm going to speak up. And we can make a remark saying, whoa, I'm not comfortable with that at all. Or, ouch, that is very painful to hear. If they say something else to try to make it a joke, I'd even go to this extreme. I don't know if you will, because you look nicer than I am. I might even say, if you continue to speak that way, I'm going to get up and leave, or you can leave. It's a choice. I'm not going to take in that smoke. That does not feel good. It does not add to my life in any way, and I'm not going to tolerate it. So remember, we always have a choice. It doesn't feel good sometimes to be silent. Even if someone speaks about one of our friends, sometimes we go, well, you're my friend too. And it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this discussion. And if you have a problem with her, I'm going to suggest you go talk to her about it because I love you both. But as women, we want to be nice. It's not nice to take in that kind of junk and then go home and feel badly about it. Does that help?
It does. It was just uncomfortable because you're in someone else's home, and I don't know these people.
Okay, so let's deal with that. She's saying this piece really got to her. I'm in somebody else's home. I'm supposed to behave a certain way. Well, that other guest who said something didn't care whose home they were in. They didn't care one bit. They let it fly. And if they bring it up and we're hearing it, it's okay to say, not when I'm here. I'm not comfortable with that. That's a very upsetting remark. You can always get up and leave. That's a pretty powerful statement. I'm not going to hear that. Doesn't matter whose house it is. I've even been in line, have you not? And you've heard someone made a comment about someone in front of you or this or that, or I might say, sir, I'm going to ask you to not speak like that around me. Okay? Go back to that place of who we are. If someone was going to make a remark about you, you're in an area and we're here at this house, and you come in and someone says something about you, how would it feel for all us to be silent? Right? It's okay to speak up, women. We need to speak up. We know inside it didn't feel good, but we just didn't know what to do. So now I suggest have compassion with yourself. At the time, you did the best you could. Now going forward, watch out. Invite Linda to your house now. Game on. All right, what else?
I have a microphone.
Yes.
One of the things that really bothers me is Facebook, and I have some people that were friends of mine who now comment on everything. They throw things out, and a lot of them are false. A lot of them are their opinions, and it's really changed my attitude on who I think they are and whether I want to be their friend. And how do you deal with that without getting off Facebook? Because I enjoy it. I like to see people's pictures, and I don't want to block everybody, but Why do they have, and I made a comment one time. I said, you comment on everything. And this person sent it back and said, well, that's what's so great about this country is we're free to say whatever we want.
Right.
And I went, oh my God.
Yes.
But it's changed my attitude on who they are and whether I really want to see them face to face.
Okay. So you brought up a number of things. Did everyone hear her question? About Facebook and posts that people put up. And what do? These are my friends, but people do reveal themselves. When people are constantly posting and looking for an audience, they're looking for approval, they're looking for attention. Okay? We don't have to give it to them. Right? So you can decide as soon as I see them right now, I'm not going to read that post. You get one little inkling, again, leave.
And that's kind of how I've dealt with it, but it makes me feel bad.
Okay? If it makes you feel bad, speak up. It's okay if it's a good friend of yours and you suddenly realize she's putting down. It's okay to privately say, you know what? I find I get so upset when I see your posts. If, when you're upset, you speak from your position, I with a feeling. This is important, and a lot of people misuse this in our language. I feel should always have an emotion after it. But you know how most people speak English? I feel that you are wrong. I feel that you are posting too much. That's not a feeling. No one can argue with your feeling. Your feeling is right. I feel upset when I see that kind of stuff. You may actually give helpful feedback just by doing that. Who knows? But at least you are speaking up, saying, you know, I'm really uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable when you post and say all liberals or all conservatives or whatever it is. And I really want to find a way through this. So if you're comfortable enough, you can speak privately to them and say, I feel upset, or I feel whatever it is. I feel sad when I see you attack a country or a race. Yeah? Does that help a little? Okay.
I'd like to respond to her.
Yes.
I've been on social media for 11 years. Pardon? Closer. Can you hear me? And I'm guilty of what you're actually talking about. I'm, first of all, a foreigner. I don't have the time or the patience to research every posting on Facebook. However, most people who know me well know that I will repost articles to get a dialogue, a conversation, an awareness, not only to educate me, but to educate those who follow me. What's interesting is I have responses just like that. I will no longer be your friend. How dare you? These are people who ought to know who I am. And my thing is, and I'm not going to say which groups, but there is a certain group that seems to get very emotional. I'm emotional now because they get so riled up. How dare you? You're this, you're that. I'm the least racist. I've been awarded a humanitarian award. If you know my background, you wouldn't have the audacity to accuse me of certain things. Yet I've been accused of all kinds of things. Yet when I post something positive in this, and we're talking political, of course, or anything to do with that arena, then nothing is stated. I'm a former educator of the 60s in Canada, and my belief is, in order to move forward as a global society, as a human race, which is what we are, we need to have a positive dialogue and have different opinions, but facts to base your opinions on. If you're going to say, I'm wrong, or this, I don't know which media to believe anymore, quite frankly. But people are fingering, this is wrong, and this is right, and this is false.
Okay.
So that's what I'm addressing
All right.
in response.
If you go to the think formula, T, if you use that think formula, you will stop at the T most of the time. Does everybody need to hear your opinion?
No.
Most people, I'm not a Facebook person, so I have an account, but it just doesn't interest me. There's too much stuff there. But for those of you who are on, many of you really enjoy it. You really find like, wow, now I can find out because I don't have time to see everybody. It brings you joy to see the pictures of where they are, their weddings, and keep up on things. But if it's bringing you heartache, that's what you got to decide. Is this where I want to put my time and attention? And many people do post some craziness. Yes?
It's just a very practical thing.
Go ahead.
You do not have to block someone. You can unfollow them and you never see anything that.
Did you hear that again? But she was saying she would like to follow. Some of these are her friends, so it makes it difficult for her. But again, I would encourage you to speak up, follow the think formula, and kindly tell your friend, I get upset.
I've seen them, but I don't even know if I want to see them.
Ah,
That's my feeling.
yeah. So again, have compassion for them as well. Have compassion for them. They are not as evolved as you yet. Have a sense of compassion for them. They need to do this. And you can help actually elevate them by giving them some honest feedback in a nice way. Somebody else, a question? Yes, Joanna. Oh, sorry.
Okay, this is something that I felt guilty about for 25 years.
Oh, no. We're going to lift the guilt. No worries. Here we are.
My son was playing baseball, and he was in junior high or something like that, and he was not a good player. But here I was in the stands, and one of the parents behind me said, "Take him out of the game, he's no good." And I felt bad because I've never said anything about that. What should I have said?
You shouldn't have said anything. You should have gone like this. Just kidding. Or something like this if they're behind you. Oh, sorry. Again, be kind and compassionate with yourself. It's happened. You didn't know what to do. You froze. And you wanted to be nice because you're a nice person. But it's not nice to allow people to disgrace our family in any manner whatsoever. So now going forward, let's make believe it's happening now. We're going to free you. Okay? What could you say now that follows the thing test?
Okay. She said, "Keep it clean."
What did she say?
My friend said, "Keep it clean."
It will be clean if you follow think.
I could turn around and say, "I'm his mother, and I really don't feel comfortable in you talking about my son that way."
Beautiful. Say it one more time, loud and clear, like you mean it.
Okay. That's
I think your son should get taken out of the game. He's slowing it up.
I could say, "That's my son, and I really don't feel comfortable in you talking about him that way."
And I'm proud of him.
And I'm very proud of my son.
Great. Somebody else over here? Okay, she's coming.
So along those same lines, I had a baby late in life, and people, total strangers, will look at me and say, "Was she an accident?" And I look at them and I say, "No, she's a bonus gift. She came later."
Yes. So have a line ready. You could say, an accident? No, we purposely had sex. It wasn't an accident, we had sex. Done. So come up with something, right? Now here it is. When someone makes a comment like that, or any kind of thing that kind of goes, dare they? There's a martial art that I love. And when you think of martial arts, I always think of like karate chopping the heck out of somebody, right? I was really angry for a while because someone knocked my grandmother down in the Bronx. And I was a really peaceful, hippie-ish kind of person at that time and believed like nonviolence, peace to everybody, my flares, tie-dye shirt, until someone knocked my grandmother down. She never drove a car. She walked with her proper little handbag in the Bronx to go get her groceries, and somebody knocked her down and kicked her and took her bag. When I heard that, I went from like, oh, let's be all peaceful and go to Woodstock to, I'm going to maim somebody. So I signed up for a class at the local junior college. They didn't have that many choices. They had judo. And they went around the room, and when it came to me, I said, I'm Kathleen. I want to learn to take someone's kneecap out and maybe an eyeball. Nobody followed me out of there that night. But I was angry. And then I discovered a quote, and it's by Morihei Ueshiba, who teaches Aikido, the founder. And he said, to injure another is to injure yourself. And in Aikido, you learn, I am going to protect me from you. I'm not going to let you keep hurting me, but I'm not going to hurt you. So you learn to use moves. If you're coming out, I can move you this way. Although, if somebody was hurting an old lady now, I'd still have to kick them. Sorry. But the idea is, if you are injuring someone else with a reply, you are injuring yourself. Goes back to being that loving person that we really are. Another question? Are we okay on time?
Yep.
Is that all right? Okay. Yep. Somebody else? Scenario. Yeah. Excuse me.
I have a funny story. Yes. Do I have to stand?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Okay.
And what is your name?
My name is Kim.
Because if you're really funny, Joanna's going to invite you.
Really? Well, so I had a call at 9:30 at night from a mom at my kid's school. And she left me a voicemail. And I need to talk to you. I don't know this mom very well. I know who she is. So the next morning, my son got up and I'm feeding him breakfast. And I said, Ronan, why would this person's mom be calling me? And he looked very sheepish. And I said, Ronan, I need to call this woman back. What happened? And he said, well, her son has made fun of my son for years. And so he was making fun of my son, and my son said, my mom doesn't like your mom. So what do I say to this? I said, you threw me under the bus. You threw me under the bus. So what would be a good response to that lady?
To the lady calling you?
Yes.
Do you think she was going to call you on that and say, so I heard you don't like me?
She's called me several times.
So if your question is, what do I say if she says, I heard you don't like me? Was it true? So if we wanted to pause and think, we could just, if we're stumbling right away, because that one would catch you off guard, to just go, wow, oh, what? Buy yourself a little time and say, these kids. You could totally deflect it if you want, or you could say, I'm going to talk to Johnny. I'm wondering where he got that from. These kids, I tell you, they just come up with these things. And if she says, well, do you like me? You can say, well, I like lots of things about you. All right? Somebody else? You're welcome. Yes?
You might say to her, well, what would I not like about it?
Yeah, that's good. Somebody else? Anybody? Yes, over here?
Where?
In the back? Oh.
I just had a question about your think formula. I think it's great, but for somebody who's been doing these habits for 30 plus years, how do you implement these in your everyday life? Like, how do you stop and actually think? Mm-hmm. Because it's a habit, that you've been doing your whole life, and it's just, how do you get out of that?
Great question. And the way to get out of a habit is first to get self-awareness of it, that I shoot my mouth off really quick, or I go to get somebody back. So the way to stop yourself right away is a long exhale. It's the first step. Because if I'm exhaling, I can't speak. The other beauty is when we go to the breath, it will calm us. If you think about it, when we get upset, we go, oh. We bring in air, we rise up, and then we, blah. But if you exhale, your body actually goes down. Someone makes a rude remark, you could blow out candles on a cake. That's one of the images I go, and I go, whew. Do the balloon thing. Out of air. Find something, but it's that pause. I mean, it was funny to say a pause, but you have a pause button. Just practicing that one thing, as if you're, I am thinking. I'm thinking about think. And when you collect yourself and gentle down, you'll be ready to not react. You'll be ready to respond. Even by asking a question. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Can you tell me what was that you said? And if you caught them off, they'll go, oh, no, nothing. And you can decide, do I want to follow it up? Nope, I'm going to leave it. They got it. So stop yourself. Because I'm sorry, but the world is going to bring on all kinds of stuff. Insults, this and that. Again, journey of self-awareness. Always attempt to take care of ourselves, but not hurt them. Yeah, does that help? Okay, you're welcome. Yes?
I love my 89-year-old mom.
But?
I love that she's in Chicago, and I call her every day. God bless the mute button on my iPhone. That's my pause. Any expletive or unkind word that might fly from my face is captured by that mute button, and then I can go back to Mom.
Okay. Now, is it what your mom's saying, or is it she's talking too much?
No, she's likes to incite. She creates chaos, and so when she whips it up in me, I have my explosion for 3 seconds with the mute button on, and then I'm back to forgiving her and loving her with all my heart.
Great. That's nice if you can do that. So we want to have compassion, especially for a family member, an older family member, maybe who might be lonely. I don't know what the situation is. But it's also okay at some point to speak up. If Mom is one who tends to give too much advice all the time, to say, Mom, I look forward to talking to you, but I find I shut down when you tell me what to do. Or if whatever it is she wants to do. If you decide that you want to take it up with her, there's a gentle way to do it. But you found something. And you did call her gentle, loving mom. Very nice. Anybody else? Question, comment, anything at all? Yes?
I have found that if somebody says something to you, like that woman who said that somebody said that about her son, you could just say, if you don't hear somebody say something to your face, or if somebody doesn't leave a message for you on your phone, it's none of your business. You know, like even calling somebody back because there's a hang up, if they didn't leave a message, it's just none of your business. And then the 2 responses I learned that I like to use, if somebody says something to me or attacks me, thank you for your opinion, I will think about it. Mm-hmm. If somebody tries to engage me in a conversation about somebody else, I forgot. I can't think what the other thing is. Okay. But you just say, if I'm going to think about it, then I'm going to interrupt again.
You can come back. Okay. It's fine. You can always say if someone asks you what your opinion, what did you think of the president's speech last night?
I know what it is. You could say,
okay, ahead.
I really couldn't say. Boom.
There
it's
you
over.
go.
That's the end of it. They can't go anywhere with it.
Done.
And the best response is no response. Because a person who's trying to antagonize you or make a racist comment, they're looking for attention, they're looking for a response, don't give them anything.
But again, we talked about this before, to remain silent when someone makes a response about a race or a country, my silence can be agreement. Yeah, so you have to decide. Usually I'm not comfortable because the silence to me says I didn't align for my friend or for this other person. And we can do it gently without embarrassing the person, but to say, ouch, that I'm so uncomfortable with that. So we all have to make these decisions. It's not easy.
Yeah, hindsight's really great.
Yeah,
Think on the way home where you are like a crazy.
yes. And you know what? That is a good point you bring up. Sometimes we didn't say anything at the time. It's not too late. It's okay later to call your friend up and say, you know what, Jill? I was so uncomfortable with that remark you made at the party, and I just want to tell you how upset I was, and I found myself freezing. Or I might even call the person if I knew them and say, you know, when you brought up that remark, I was so stunned I didn't say a word, and I'm deeply upset. Because perhaps my kids are gay or this or immigrants or whatever it is. And I didn't say anything because I was so upset and I couldn't contain myself. So again, you always have options. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm sorry. So
What are you
one thing
sorry
that
about?
seems to, I don't know, because I say that a lot because, you know, I'm female. I don't know. It's what we do, right? Okay. We get in this cycle sometimes where we're talking with someone, we have an opinion, they have an opinion, we have an opinion. I've noticed, even with my mom, love her so much, I just say, Mom, let's just agree to disagree and leave it there. You know, let's just stop. You have an opinion, I have an opinion, and it's fine. I respect your opinion, and my opinion is different. Why don't we just not?
If you want, you can even stop it sooner. When you're starting to feel that tug of war, it's okay to say, wow, she'll get the point if you're not responding. Don't pick up the line. Don't take the bait.
She's my sister-in-law. She's my sister-in-law. Wait a minute. Hey, what was that?
Sometimes the bait is like a big beach ball and you're going like this. I got to go after that one.
Defend me now.
But you do have a choice. You can stop it sooner to say, that's a point, or I'll get back to you on that.
I mean, she's a great lady. I'm not trying to say anything bad about my
but
mom,
if
but
you're letting it go on too long, think of it. I'm taking in smoke. We're
Well,
starting to escalate.
I'm her caregiver. I'm with her a lot, so sometimes it happens, you know.
Well, that's really nice
Our
of you to
filter
do
breaks, their filter breaks, you know.
that. Yes. Tough job.
Yeah, it's all good.
Anybody else? Anything? Oh, go ahead. One more.
This is a wonderful conversation for us as adults, and I really feel, I'm a teacher and I teach the little guys, and in all the years I've taught, I think one of the most successful tools I had was what we call the iMessage, which I'm sure you certainly know. And with these little ones, when they can't express, they're upset and they're so emotional and they can't express themselves, you give them this framework
Yes.
to say, I feel sad
Yes.
that you said that to me. I would like you to stop.
Yes.
But it's a framework that they can put their emotion into, and they have to face one another, they have to discuss it, and then the other one says something back. And before you know it, they're best buddies, rather than the whole day go awry
Yes.
because they had a bad moment. So I mean, that's one thing I wanted to share.
Beautiful.
And the other thing I use a lot is it going to help or is it going to hurt? Like to keep it real simple and real basic
Yes.
at that level. And many times I'll find myself saying that to myself. Is it going to help, Barb, or is it going to hurt?
Yes.
You know? If it's not going to help, forget
Stop.
it. Stop it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you. Just one quick comment. My friend Pat and I were talking about this, how in schools they are now teaching mindfulness and meditation. And it's a beautiful thing coming out of the UK and spreading. So instead of the kids getting tossed in detention and this and that, they learn to sit quietly and gentle themselves down. It's a really great thing. The other is, if you're in a relationship with somebody, there's a really cool technique you can learn that has to do with deep listening. And it's called a Mago. Some of you may be familiar with it. And it's a way of hearing somebody when they're upset. And what you do is pretty much you're just rephrasing what you heard. So make up something for me, please, something you're upset about. You can make up something that I did or whatever, anything.
Well, I'm really upset that you didn't take out the garbage.
So you haven't been talking to me. You're still mad because I didn't take out the garbage on Tuesday? Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So is there anything else? There's always something else.
Tired of the stains on the bathroom sink.
All right?
Could you please pick up after yourself?
All right, so let me make sure I got it, because I want to solve this with you. You want to figure out who's going to take the garbage and when. And then it sounds like we need a cleaning person for the bathroom. Is that it? Okay, is there anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. So, and just by, I am hearing and letting you know I understood. Because what do most of us do? We interrupt. What do you mean? I took the garbage out on Saturday. You never take the garbage. I didn't make the mess in the kitchen. It was your makeup. We interrupt. But it's a gift we're giving, supposedly, our family members or our partners who we love. I'm listening with an aim to understand you. It's not about me. I'm to understand you and then try to solve it. And the first thing they say is not usually the big one. You have to keep saying, is there anything else? By the third or fourth, now you're there. They started with the garbage, but it wasn't just the garbage. That's why we say, is there anything else? And it's really hard, and I promise you need that pause button. Because they'll say, you never, you always. It's like, mm-hmm. Okay? Thank you, Candace. Anybody else? Yes?
Well, since she brought up the self-control issue of our own opinions, I'll confess that at 60, I still have that problem. But instead of just one finger, I usually put both hands. I do. There's times I'm so excited that I consciously put both hands on my mouth.
It works, does it not?
It does.
Yeah, and this is just a little more feminine.
We
Yes.
have time. We have time for one more. One more question.
Yes, please.
When it's a racial slur, I don't want to have an argument with the person, but I feel like you need to make kind of a stand to try to make people think, or to improve, all of us. So I know how to. I was in that kind of a conversation, and I just said I don't want to be in this conversation. And so somebody else said they didn't either, and so that kind of really, stopped it.
Perfect.
But at the same time, that it seems like in order to improve the overall situation, you have to make some kind of a positive, I don't know, some kind of a statement to correct or to improve the whole racial emotions.
Sounds like you handled it, and you did that. You made a positive, good statement. You made a really strong message. Beautiful.
Can I say what I would say?
Over here. Yes.
Because what I've said with a client that said anti-racial slurs was that I cannot work with you anymore. That is an antiquated way of thinking, and I do not work with clients that think that way. I'm out of here.
That's a really strong position. It's almost minimizing them. So I get why you do it, but again, we're aiming to connect, hopefully. But we do have a line, I agree, and we all decide where that line is. You're right. Because if we stay listening to that, we stay silent, it's as if, do you ever get in the water in the ocean and you think, I got to cool off. You start walking into that ocean and the waves start crashing on you. You have to do something or you're just going to keep losing your footing. You either dive under and go past it or you retreat back. So it sounds like you retreat and just go, hey, I'm not having it. Right? So again, we can do it with kindness so that I'm not going to injure you, but I'm not going to take it in. Okay? Well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to be here with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Camille.
Thank you, Kathleen.